during all the BS times we had with competitors, and guys were getting mad because we beating them and they didn't think we should come along so quick and do so well. And like, sorry, but we're going to compete. We're going to do hard. I mean, that's just the way we are. I mean, that's why I wasn't surfing. You weren't my friend in the water, but afterwards I'd say we could drink, but I was only 14 then.
Welcome to the Pitmasters podcast. Today on the podcast, we've got Rod Livingston from R&R Barbecue, which is a barbecue competition team and restaurant here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and in other different cities. They have several locations. We're going to talk to him about the restaurant, their competition style, and how they got started, and some tips for you guys to play with this season. So let's go. All right, guys. So welcome again to the Pitmasters podcast. I'm Rusty.
I'm Anthony.
Again, like I said, we have Rod here with us. Say hi, Rod.
Hey, how you doing?
Just real quick, let's just get some of the stuff out of the way. You guys can listen to us on basically anywhere you can listen to podcasts. You can go to the pitmasters.com, Pitmasters podcast. Last time I said Pitmasters again. So the pitmasterspodcast.com, we do have gear there now. So you can buy some hats. If you guys see on the YouTube, you can see Anthony's wearing his hat. They're pretty cool. I ordered mine. And so you can listen to us on, I already said that, but you can also go to Instagram, Facebook at the Pitmasters Podcast and follow along with what we're doing. We're also on YouTube, so you can go check this out now and watch us talking into microphones.
Right. And then we also picked up iHeartRadio.
Oh, yeah, we're on iHeartRadio now too.
Yep.
So, yeah, what are we doing? What's going on with you, man?
Not much, just getting prepped for my first barbecue competition of the year down in St. George, January 3rd, KCBS event. It should be a pretty fun event. I found a pretty sweet brisket. You can see that on our social media. That Snake River Farms brisket is amazing. I can't wait to cook it.
I'm cooking an A9 down there.
Oh,
so
brought it in from Florida, huh?
Yo face. Yeah, nice. I bought it. I'm actually going to try it out this week. So I haven't tried the flat. The points are really, really nice on that A9. Super nice. But I haven't tried those flats yet. I haven't frozen in the fridge. They don't freeze them.
Yeah.
So we trimmed them and I froze it. And that's just getting ready to go. Like you guys heard maybe on the Heath Riles podcast, we did a couple ones back where he takes his A9s, trims them up, throws them in the freezer. And then when he's ready to go to his comp, he'll just throw it in his cooler. And by the time he gets there, it's all ready to go. So I'm going to do that.
Yep. Nice, man. I'm super excited for this podcast. This is like a full circle podcast for me. It's really weird. Back in 2015, I actually took R&R's class, just a intro to competition barbecue. I was actually at their restaurant, their very first restaurant, which is located downtown Salt Lake. I walked in and there was just a little flyer hanging on the wall saying, come and learn how to do competition barbecue. So I took the class, learned some stuff, went out there to the pit stop for my very first contest and got some calls. So I have to thank R&R that got this boat rolling now.
Nice.
So now we're here interviewing you. It's kind of full circle.
It's crazy. We're real fortunate. Not too many people could make a living from barbecue. And, if you would ask me 15 years ago, would this be my situation? I would say, are you crazy? Are you nuts? I'm still crazy and nuts though, but
Right. So you have a little bit of news about the competition side there. What's the new news here?
Oh, just that we are going to do the contest in Arizona, December 27th and 28th, I believe is the dates.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to compete as R Square instead of R&R, just for some reasons. But we're really looking forward to it. I've got some really good friends down there, Rhythm and Q, incredible barbecue team. I mean, Vince is just a really good friend. What I like about Vince is it's hardcore competition with him during a contest, but he's the kind of guy that, I don't know if he drinks beer or not. I don't even remember, but afterwards you sit around and you talk, but when game's on, it's game on. And that's what everybody goes for. So that's kind of how we were. It's like, if I'm going to go to a contest, I'm going to go and do my absolute best to win. I'm not going to, to just do social media or shake everybody's hand. I mean, we'd like to have a good time with everybody, but it's game on.
Yeah. Then Vince, he's game on, man.
Oh yeah.
You walk by and like, hey man, he's like, hey. And then afterwards he's sitting next to you talking, what's up? Good job on this. And he's just really good guy.
I hung out with him at the, what is it? Contest out west.
Wendover.
Wendover contest. Yeah. And I talked to him a little. I talked to him all day. It was really the funnest I've ever had at a contest, and we just shared a lot of stuff. And he goes, people, because we were talking how people perceive you and stuff. And he goes, yeah, Rod, people like, oh, Rod, look at Vince. He's over there. He's all, all private. He's got all of his walls up on his tent and this and that, and doesn't come out and really talk and that kind of stuff. And he goes, Rod, what people don't understand is I drive all night long. We don't come a day before. We don't prep our meats at home. We do everything here. And so once we get here, it's work time. And he's very systematic about how he does it. Now he's competing by himself. So it's a little bit different, but he's very systematic. And that's what new teams need to learn. And if you want me to go into that question now.
Please do, yeah.
Is, at first contest, some of our first contests, we each have our own smoker, Roger and I. And we'd both show up with our smokers. We brought so much stuff. It's like, it was just crazy. And you really need to get a system down to where, we had like, well, who's watching this? Who's watching that? Oh, you ought to do this. You ought to do that. And this is just, with twin brothers, it's really, you want to both get to the same place, but you don't always have the same technique. And once we split up to where I took ribs and chicken and like, I really tried to master those, and he did brisket and pork butt because they're the longer meats. And this way I get to sleep in.
Good move.
He spent many a nights on top of a table with a sleeping bag right next to the smoker. And, once we each just focused on our meats, we still watch them together, but the rule is don't tell me crap about my chicken or ribs unless I ask.
It's a good rule.
And that way it just turns out better. But, even then people are like, I don't know how you guys win. You guys are fighting brothers. And then then you win or you get, place high, and it's just incredible to watch. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of sickening. At one time we were going to really kill each other almost. I don't know. But now here we are. When
I took you guys' class, that was like, you guys explained that, like, don't be surprised if something happens if we start bickering back and forth.
Yeah. It's kind of like watching Heckle and Jekyll or Magpies or something like that.
Yeah. So let's kind of roll back a little bit. Tell us about yourself. So you are a twin brother. Your other brother, Roger.
Yeah. So Roger and I were twins, identical twins. A lot of jokes I can do there, but I won't. We grew up in Southern California, and surfing was really our thing. We used to compete a lot. I was U.S. boys surfing champion when I was 15 or 14, 1974, 61 now. So a lot of years in between that. And, I've been all over the world surfing since then. And I moved out here in Utah in 89, and Roger came out several years later when we had our first kid. And, we like doing competitions and stuff. I mean, it was like surfing. I was, hardcore if I'm going to go to win. And Roger was a pretty good competitive surfer, but he wasn't from what he says, he goes, you could go out and have a good time in a contest and surf like you surfing, like you're having fun. Some people just kind of get a little nervous and kind of freeze up or, something to where it's not quite as fun, But he's, in his words, you can still go out and have fun in a contest. So it's, we hung around some of the best surfers in the world. It was a good time. Still is a good time, even though I'm slower and can't get up as fast and get killed. But, we moved out here. I moved out here in 89. I went to the True School, believe it or not, BYU. And then about... we were from California, so we always enjoyed grilling and cooking and stuff, but we didn't really smoke. But we grew up around that from our parents grew up in like Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky. And so they were always around that. We'd go to the family reunions and the old guys, which were probably 10 years, 15 years younger than me now, stayed up all night and did pork butts, and they're mopping them. And next day you have pulled pork sandwiches with slaw on them, or catfish and hush puppies, just good Southern comfort food. So we moved out here in about 2000. We started getting into smoking, and we bought some really cheap grill or smokers from Home Depot, and we had no idea when done was done. And it was, we must have opened the doors. I bet we opened the doors 200 times, like checking on it, like, and watching the heat go up and down, up and down. And, pork butt took me all day long and it still wasn't done, but I didn't know when done was done. And, that's for us, that was really the ticket, is understanding the meat, not like you just happened to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So Roger went in a couple of amateur contests. I think he got second in one and won the other one. And I went and won, and the one that he won, I got third or fourth. I just kind of froze up in those things, and Roger's more of like, just get it done. And he is still that way in the restaurant business compared to me. So I'm more of the mayor in the restaurants. I was like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how's that baby doing? Hey, thanks for coming in.
He's the Rusty.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, Rod, I could really use help with all these meats. Like, okay, I'll be out in the lobby.
My team always makes fun of me because when we get there, I'm like, "What's up, man?" I'll go talk to everybody.
Like, hey, what are you doing?
They set up the whole everything.
At contest, Roger says he doesn't do that, but he does. At contest, he does.
Well, that's the thing with Rusty. I go to the contest, like, hey, where's Rusty? His team's like, out kissing babies.
Hey, you know what you got to say is, hey, his mom carried him for 9 months, and I've been carrying him for 2 years, or however long you've been competing together. So
there you go. You hear that, Chad? You hear that, Jared?
we probably heard that you probably heard that in the class.
Yeah.
And so, let's see who got us in there. Pat's Barbecue. He was a good friend of ours. I lent him some money when he first opened up his restaurant, because that thing was hot. I mean, Utah summers are pretty warm. They're not like Arizona was. They get hot and stuff, and he needed air conditioning. So I lent him $10,000 or something to put his air conditioning in. And I don't know if he used it for what, but, he said, I said, hey, I need some collateral or something. I said, what about that smoker? And he goes, yeah, no problem. And after a while, he goes, hey, why don't you take the smoker home and use it? And I cooked chicken on it, and I really had no idea what I was doing. But my wife saw me, and it's Utah County, and I had a adult beverage in a Solo cup, and she just saw how happy I was, just relaxing there and cooking the food. And she goes, you're going to get one of these, aren't you? Like, oh, I don't know. I don't think so. So right after that, I talked to my friend I established a relationship with Clint at East Texas Smoker, and we worked a deal. It gave me an incredible deal on a smoker that actually, I can't think of their name, in Las Vegas, Trailhound Smokers, Tim, really good friend. I mean, I've met people that are really good friends of mine still from the last 10 years of doing barbecue. And he has that now. He put it onto a trailer, and a different kind of trailer, and has it. Clint makes some really good smokers, and we competed with his smokers in the American Royal, Jack Daniels, Sam's Club. We took second in the nation. But Pat, like, here, this is what they do for contests, because he was actually a KCBS rep. And so he knew. He goes, hey, you got to do this, present your meat like this and that. He didn't really give us any recipes, but he just like, here's what you have to do. So we went into, Snowburger was a contest, and there's guys like Johnny Trigger. I think Rhythm and Q were there. Some of the other big names. I'm horrible to remember names, but I think we got like 2 calls, out of 4 meets, our first pro contest. And like we were hooked. And then we knew Mesquite was coming up, like, hey, let's go do Mesquite. And that was actually with Slap Your Daddy and
Myron Mixon, Tuffy Stone.
Yeah. See, I'm old. I don't remember all the names.
No, we really don't know who was there either, except from we watched the Pitmasters.
Well, Roger, Roger met Myron Mixon there, and Roger ended up taking his class. And a funny note on that is he was standing up on a chair when they were cutting up the whole hog they do. It's an incredible class. It's an event. It's not like just our 4-hour class, but it's like a 2-day event. And Roger's taking pictures, and he fell and broke his collarbone.
Oh,
and the funny part is he he accidentally did a pocket call, and I hear guys saying, well, let's get him in the ambulance. It's like that. Like, Roger, what's going on? You know?
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun to, you know, it's just kind of funny. And Meyer and Mixon became very good friends of ours. And we love the guy to death. People think he's an ass, but they don't know him. We were at the Jack Daniels one time, and we kind of used some of his recipes. You go to a class, you really don't use anybody's full recipe. At least we didn't, but you get like what I call little nuggets. And that's like our class. You probably got that. Like you didn't change the way you cook, but you maybe got little nuggets.
Yep.
And you should have.
I definitely did. Well, I got some calls.
Yeah, you got some first contest.
So.
Yeah. You know, and there were some good teams out here, but, yeah, we got, actually they, like you were talking about a little bit earlier before we got on here, that, you heard us get 5th in brisket. And the funny thing about that is we turned in all burnt ends because
hallelujah.
I stayed up all night to watch the brisket. I said, Roger, I'm going to go take a shower, watch the brisket, and the flat burned. Like, what are we going to do? That, you know, this is the last meat, and some guys are, hey, I'll give you our brisket, which you can't do. And so Roger goes, hey, we still got the burnt, you know, the flat or the point, and cut it up, use it. We actually use a lube, like we call it a lube, but it was a sauce. It was, I think we made our own barbecue sauce plus another one in there. And a beer, a Texas beer.
Lone Star?
No.
I know what you're talking about. I used to drink it all the time. Oh man, I can't think of it right now.
But it's a Texas beer.
Is it the yellow one, Shinerbach?
Shinerbach.
Oh,
Yeah, love that beer. That is really one of my favorite beers with barbecue. And we put some of that in it and lubed them up and dunked them in the whole thing of barbecue sauce and pulled them out and put them in the box. And we got 5th in brisket. And like, you know, it's unreal. But I know a lot of guys that, I won't say who, but I know guys that turn in either all slice or all burnt ends, because if you turn in both, then you're competing against yourself in that box. If they're both not perfect, then you're going to get scored on the lower one. So, you know, just keep that in mind if you're a competitor.
Nice.
Yeah, and see, I've always looked for that because we've always mused, let's put just the burnt ends because they're always the best. Let's just put all those in. And everyone's like, no, nobody does that.
Yeah, well, the hard thing with
some guys like, well, I've tried it, and then I've talked to judges and like, oh, we've never seen it, and then I'm like, we need to do this.
Well, they got to judge you on what's in the box.
Yeah.
So if you put all burnt ends in, if they're the best burnt ends, then you could win.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem I see with burnt ends is some people have a different definition of what great burnt ends are. You know, some people like them with a little char on top and real sweet or something like that. Or, you know, some people like them where they just almost fall apart. I mean, I know what I like when there's still some texture to them and such, but that's kind of was the thinking. If you turn in all burnt ends, that what's a great burnt end, you know, but.
And I, as a judge, I loved it. I loved, because it's for actually kind of rare that you get them in I'd say 50%, you get them in a box.
Yeah.
And every time I did, I was just like, oh, great. This is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's my favorite. Even when I go to the restaurants, I seldom ever get more than one slice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, hey, just cut me up some burnt ends, you know, if I'm going to eat the beef part. I'm not a big brisket guy. Roger cooks the briskets, but I just don't like it as much. I mean, I'm the rib and chicken guy, and I still love ribs. Like I had 2 today.
Nothing wrong with that.
So.
Yeah. So we just got into it more and more, and a lot of people are very helpful. They'll be helpful up to the point to where you start beating them, and then they go silent on you.
See, you guys kind of took off. I mean, you go into barbecuedata.com. I mean, first one in here, you guys are in the green. I mean, that's top 5 calls, and then it just kind of.
What is that?
This is called barbecuedata.com.
Really?
So you can go here, and it has all your KCBS, or I think it's a couple other, but mostly KCBS.
Yeah.
And it tracks it for however long. I think for you, it's been since 2009.
Wow, I'll have to go in there because I don't have a whole record. So
yeah, and so you can go through and check out all your places, who was there with you, so I can click on the contest. And we are not sponsored by them, just so you guys know. It is a fantastic website. If you guys go and you are a team and you have cooked KCBS events, go to Utah or barbecuedata.com and you can look up anyone you want. It's a $25 charge to if you want to like have your own page and stuff, I think.
Well, just give me your login and password.
I will. I will share it on our Instagram. Yeah. But you click on it and you can see who all competed with you and where they stood up. And I was clicking through your guys' stuff and you guys kind of hit the ground running. I mean, you started out really well. And then in 2010, when it looks like you guys really vamped up your contests, like you just second place, third place, fifth place, eighth place, on and on and on. So how did that come about? I mean, you guys go from cooking in your backyard and, you know, with your red Solo cup to winning these competitions. Where did that change over for you?
You know, what you have to do we did a lot of contests. Like you said, the first year was kind of slow, but we'd get 1 to 2 calls every contest. And we'd finish, you know, maybe, you know, in the top 5 or not top 5, you know, 5 to 10th or lower, of course. But that's because we're only nailing 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 of the meets. And you got to get to where you're getting, if you're going to win, obviously you got to get top calls in all 3 meets or top calls in 3 meets and maybe 1 that lags, but it beats the other guys that are ahead of you or that could be ahead of you. And so it's just a matter of really understanding your meets. I mean, ribs, we've always done well. My first year in competition, we competed a lot in Arizona because Utah doesn't have the contest. And we always said, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Mm-hmm. And there were good teams out here, but there weren't a lot of teams that traveled out of Utah. I mean, it's not cheap. And I mean, we weren't wealthy or anything or any means by that. But, you know, we made the sacrifice. I mean, we didn't get hotel rooms ever. I remember the first year we competed with one town in Las Vegas. We were going to stay the night, and like somebody goes, well, the rooms are like $150. And like, oh, man, we're not going to do, like, Rod, you're making all kinds of money now. You could get a room and afford $150. Like, yeah, you can. And so, but I mean, then we would leave in the morning, Friday morning or late Thursday, drive all night, get there, compete, pack up at Saturday night, and then drive all night. My wife's like, yeah, you should just get a hotel because you guys come home and then you just sleep all day. So you might as well drive safely. But, you know, I mean, it was a struggle to go to a contest and it was a lot of fun. But the thing is, I guess what we're talking about is getting to where you're winning. You have to really understand all the meats. And I remember like ribs, I would get a really good call in ribs, and the next contest, maybe not. But it's really when I learned, like we really got into it, like almost like, you know, become one of the ribs and one with the ribs. And it was when you really understood when a rib is done, what you're looking for. And to me, I mean, chicken is mostly temperature, but like ribs and brisket and pork, it's the feel. Pork butt's a little more lenient, but ribs and brisket, it's feel. I mean, I go by temperature sometimes for the ribs because it's more predictable with the temperature, but ideally you have to go by the feel. However you do that, we use a probe. A lot of guys, you know, pick it up and feel if it bounces or not. But you know, if it bounces, that means the tendons are not tendons, but the structure of the meat hasn't broken to where it will relax.
So what temperature, excuse me, are you looking for? Because like we do base temps, so we're not looking to get too temp. We just get a base temp where we can start looking. Yep. What's your base temp?
Base temp is probably 192, and that's when you really start watching it after that.
Okay.
But you know, I mean, it's like brisket. People go, well, what time and temperature do you cook your brisket on? Because I cook to 203, and you know, it's like, well, you can, but you know, one thing I learned from other people and just watching and cooking a lot is that, you know, you can cook low and slow, and a brisket could be done at 185. Mm-hmm. And you can cook hot and fast, and it may not be done till it's 213. We've had them at 213, and they just didn't break.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, it's like how many times you open the door. If you go by feel instead of timing, you're going to be better because you're going to understand more in situations. And if you open the door too much, or if the temperature drops or your fire goes out, then you've blown your schedule of time and temperature. And you were like, where am I at? Well, okay, I'll take off a half hour here and da-da-da-da. But if you go by feel, then you're not going to be wrong. You're going to be able to pick it off, of, okay, this feels good. I could watch you probe a piece of meat, a brisket, and tell you if it's done or not to a certain degree. I mean, I can't tell if it's overdone because it's going to go in, but I can tell when it's underdone because I could watch the point of hesitation of probing the meat.
Well, the A9s, they're a fatty piece of meat. I don't probe. I probe with my ThermaPen, but I'm not probing for temperature. And I think I was a 118 when I pulled that because it's such a fatty piece of meat. I had to take that A9 from out of Florida.
Oh yeah. I don't,
it's a fatty piece. I had to take that up a lot higher than I would a normal piece.
I don't know. I think they can be too fatty because, we used to get the most expensive ones and stuff like that. But I know a lot of teams, they just get the prime from Costco.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you're not going to be paying $300-400 for a brisket.
Yeah.
If you get a good fatty brisket, a good prime, and you take it from the further up and towards the point, that's going to be your choice pieces of brisket.
So when you're doing a choice, like let's say we're doing a prime, do you find that is it the same thing? Is it very variable? Because I work a lot with the Snake River Farm stuff.
Yeah.
So I know, and
they're great.
I think you do a lot of primes, right?
Yeah, I did a lot of Costco primes. I'm switching up this year, but
so when you're doing a Costco prime, what is it that? Because this is, I really think this is important because I know a lot of teams like you said you competed with Harry. So he does that. That's how he cooks them. Yeah. So do you know of a variance that might be? So you do the same thing with a prime. You're just looking for the feel and stuff like that. Do you feel it gets really high up there? Have you ever had to take it like to a 217 before?
No, I mean, the highest I think we've gone is like 213. And that was a Sam's Club contest in Vegas. The first one they had in Vegas. And it was the regional championship one. And it still doesn't break. It still just wasn't feeling like you could push it in like a marshmallow. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's what I mean. That's why you got to go by feel.
But it gets there. So you would say just, hey, it's all kind of the same thing. Really?
Well, it just depends. I mean, it's always the feel because it could be a thicker one. It could be thinner. It could be drier. It could be more humid. There's just so many factors that you don't think are out there. But if you go by feel, then you're going to understand it. And ribs too. I mean, ribs, my first, that's what we were talking about. I had my first time I went to a contest in Arizona with a neighbor that actually had been cooking a little bit, but not competitions. And now he looks at me. I see him when I drive down the street. He's like, you're like, okay, now you're doing barbecue for a living, and I showed you a lot about barbecue too. Have a nice day at work.
Cut me into that.
But a great friend, and I was doing well, but I really didn't understand the process. Mm. And I would think gosh, if I'm cooking for a bunch of people at a party, how do I really know when these ribs are done? And I didn't have the answer to that. It was kind of more off of guessing or that, but we started doing really well in chicken ribs and pork butt, and brisket was a tough one for us, except for that fifth call we got, with a lot of luck in Wendover, not Mesquite, and we were just to the point of like, okay, in order to do really well, you got to place well in 4 meats, and our friend Jim Monham, great guy that passed away. It's really one of my good friends of barbecue that during all the BS times we had with competitors and guys were getting mad because we beating them and they didn't think we should come along so quick and do so well. And like, sorry, but we're going to compete. We're going to do hard. I mean, that's just the way we are. I mean, that's why I wasn't surfing. You weren't my friend in the water, but afterwards I'd say we could drink, but I was only 14 then, but this guy was like, man, he goes, because we talked to him a lot about that, about brisket and things like that. And then about 2 months later, and we started doing well, he said, I've never seen a team really change from doing poorly to doing really good so quickly. And he goes, you guys have just done an incredible job of really trying to understand the brisket, that's kind of our thing, you know, just trying to understand what the meat needs, and when done is done. That's the biggest thing that you can understand to start doing well in competitions and also in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a guess. Like, okay, you know where the point is, and then after you're done, you remember that feel, and you think, you cut it open, you slice it, and it's like, okay, yeah, that one was perfect, or that one was overdone, or, you know, you have a set point that you're looking for. So,
right. Yeah, and it's like we use Snake River Farms because when you get out of the gate, everyone's like, well, you can't win without Snake River Farms. So I've never tried it, not to trying it, but it's funny because when I was coming up, I did just what you said. I want to learn the meat. So I'm going to Costco. I'm buying primes and choices, and I'm cooking them. They're great. You know, they were fine for me. But then in my mind, I'm like, it's got to be a Snake River Farms. It's got to be an A9. And that's not necessarily the case because, you know, a lot of people are winning with these, like Stumps. I know he's famous for, I'll just go down to Walmart and pick up whatever, you know. And that's
I mean, you know, if you look for one that's very flimsy, that you see a lot of marbling in, I don't care what it's rated. It's how you cook it. And, you know, I mean, in the restaurant I've had, you know, we just use choice, but it's the top 2/3. And I mean, I've been to packing houses, which is a gross experience. And, you know, you look at the difference, and some of them, there's not, it's somebody saying, yeah, that's okay. Make that a choice, make that a prime. I mean, there's standards, but we've had great briskets in the restaurants. Is like, geez, I'd throw this in any contest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's moist. It's flimsy when it's done. It's everything you'd want in a competition barbecue.
Yeah. And let's touch on that for a second. Since you've been there, what's that process like when they're going through and rating those meats?
It's really kind of weird. You know, the thing we saw last is when they exterminate their life, we'll say, is kind of unsettling. I don't like killing things that I can't eat. I mean, I could go duck hunting all the time, but I just don't have anything to do with the ducks.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like killing stuff, but it was kind of unsettling to see that part. But, you know, they basically kill them, skin them, gut them. And right at the line where they go by in a hook, there's FDA, or I don't know, it's FDA or whatever it is, person that scores them right there. Yeah. USDA. Mm-hmm. So that scores them right there. But it's kind of interesting too, is they said that a meat that's choice and a couple days later could be graded as a prime because
aging,
the aging and the expansion of the fat inside the animal.
I didn't know that.
If I understood it right, but yeah, it was kind of neat to see.
Yeah, I've opened up briskets myself, bought a choice just to cook at home, and I'm like, whoa, this should have been a prime.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's good stuff, you know?
Yeah, and it breaks down to what you said. You just got to go through the whole cooler if you're going for a competition. If you can only go to a certain store, tell the meat guy to bring out all the briskets and go through them and look for your marbling and the flimsiness and everything. Like,
and the size you want to cook and stuff. And, you know, we don't separate our briskets until our flat from the point until actually it's done. But, you know, there's guys that separate from the very beginning, and there's, you know, like they say, there's more than one way to skin a cat, but it's the end result that you get to that really matters. And, you know, it's been fun competing. Our first win, it wasn't KCBS. What's that other one?
Is it Nevada?
That's the one I was just trying to look for.
Out of Texas. It's where you cook a half a chicken.
Yeah. Where is it? Let's see if I can find that name.
And you can't put sauce on it after it's out of the smoker. But
MABA, maybe?
What is it?
MABA? Is it the Memphis knockoff?
No. It's I forgot what it's called, but that was our first win. And Slap Your Daddy was there, and some other really good teams were there, and it was a lot of fun. And then we won one up in Idaho, and that's, you know, there used to be Utah Barbecue Station. I don't want to get into too much, but if you come on strong and winning, some people don't like it. And, you know, it's just, it's crazy. It's like, shit, this is supposed to be fun. What happened to being fun, you know? And but we won that contest by 15 points.
Wow.
15 to 20 points.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we had some of the other notable ones is one weekend. Cisco had a little contest, and we got first in chicken, first No, we got third in chicken, first in ribs, first in pork, and first in brisket. And people are like, oh, you know,
Who are these guys?
Yeah, these guys, who do they think they are? You know, and then there was a contest like 2 weeks later up in Heber somewhere below the dam there. Neat little area. And people are like, well, you know, there's some teams, they do 30 contests a year. They're going to come and kick your ass, and you're going to be, you know, they're going to show you guys. Like, well, why don't you show us, you know? and before before they announced it, the guys that ran that contest, I think it was Arlie Bragg, but he wasn't there. His guys were going, or his guy goes, yeah, it's really kind of, I think we're going to be surprised about these results. And we're thinking, what in the hell does that mean? You know, is there a new team that came in and just kicked everybody's butts? Because it happens, you know. I mean, we never go thinking we're going to win. We go thinking we're going to give it our best and hopefully we do well. And it's funny, we got third in chicken, first in ribs, first in pork, and first in brisket.
Wow.
And the applauses slowly went down afterwards. It was like, okay.
That's like waiting for Salt City Barbecue.
Like, sorry, guys, you know,
cooking pigs getting their call.
The opposite of slow clap.
Yeah. And so, you know, there's been a couple of contests where they literally would not we had Intermountain Barbecue Association, and the other association was like, we're just not going to clap for you. We don't want you guys to win. We don't want your friends to win. But we won.
You guys did really well.
Yeah,
like I said, that it's every time you click on any of these years, looking at this, it's a lot of green.
We were real
track
fortunate. It was
draws.
fun. We went to Jack Daniels a couple times. I think
American
Rod,
Royal.
the best call. We are usually in the top 50 or something, or better than that. I don't remember, but we got a fifth call in brisket, which is a lot of fun. You get the little Jack trophy if you're in the top 5.
Oh, that's all I want in my life.
Is the barrel top?
Yeah, and then once we started the restaurant, we didn't do as many contests, and a lot of people, well, you guys aren't going to be able to do any good. You know, you've been doing a restaurant, and you're not cooking contest. And we made it to the championships at Sam's Club tournament, and it starts out with 750 teams, 5 regions, and then top 10 go to the regional championship, and the top 10 out of that go to the nationals. And we really didn't think we were going to do that well. I mean, I just didn't believe it. And we got called first place in chicken with the perfect score. I mean, this
is the championship one, the top 10.
Yeah, in Bentonville, Arkansas. And then brisket was in the top 10 and the other ones. But I mean, you get 2 top 10s there. It's a big deal because you got the best cooks in the nation there.
Right.
I mean, some of the teams you thought wouldn't make it didn't make it. And it's you usually don't get there by luck. You know, you're with the best. And we took second place and won $30,000 that weekend.
Goodness.
Man, it's a bummer that the Sam's Club's not doing their tour no more.
I know. It was so much fun. That was fun.
They're doing a similar thing with Smithfield now.
Yeah.
Where they're doing you can compete in sanctioned contests throughout the nation. And then the winners at the end, the top teams get called to, which was New Orleans this year. So they're doing something similar, but that seemed to me, because it seemed to me like pretty cool. Because I mean, we just started this year.
Yeah.
This is our first year.
Well, when I signed up for the Sam's Club, man, it's sold out. You like literally had to be online.
You had to be up at night and online.
And then it was literally the registration went up and it went down 30 minutes later just because all the teams. And then there's a reserve list too.
There's big money in those.
There's a reserve list too, and that would fill up.
Yeah.
If a team would drop, the reserve team goes in.
And you had teams coming out from competing in other places because they thought it'd be easier and they'd get there, you know, to the finals easier, but you just don't know. I mean, you just got to go compete, give it your best, and have a good time. And like I said, I mean, most people are really, really nice there. There's some powerhouses and interesting personalities, but most people are really nice. And most everybody's really nice in the very beginning, like I said, but when you start winning and taking their purse money, then they're still nice, but they're not going to be helpful anymore.
Right.
Like, okay, these guys don't need any help.
There's a fine line. There's doing really, really bad. And everyone's like, oh, cool. And then there's doing pretty good. And everyone's like, oh, he's all right. And they're talking to you. And then there's winning. And they're like, well, that guy can go stuff it.
But we loved it. I mean, there was a contest at the Gallivan Center. And I think he was the number 1 or 2 guy in the nation came. And we still won that contest. So we always enjoyed, okay, great, they're coming. Let's see how we do compared to them. I mean, it doesn't do any good to keep beating the same guys. Not that we won every time or anything, but we enjoyed having guys come to Utah and kick our ass, you know?
Man, there was a lot of competitions back then.
Right.
I'm pissed right now talking about it.
Yeah. So you're out there just in the circuit, just slaying it. Let's kind of make this transition a little bit. So you went out there just slaying it, just killing it. How did you guys decide, hey, let's slide into the restaurant business?
You know, it's funny. We were in the mortgage business and just seemed like a natural transition into restaurant. No, we, you know, in 2008, the economy was down and we were in the mortgage business. We were still doing pretty well by, you know, I guess most people's standards for income, but we could see the writing on the wall that it wasn't going to be fun, that there are all kinds of new regulation and Frank Dodge and all these different new rules were coming out. And it just wasn't fun. And people were like, well, I don't, you know, after the big crash, people were like, well, I didn't have to do that before. Like, yeah, we just went through a big crash because of the mortgage industry. And it just wasn't fun anymore. So we started doing those contests, not really knowing where it would take us. Now I tell my wife, like, hon, I knew exactly what we were doing. You know, it's all working towards this big thing. And I knew we were going to do a restaurant. You did not. You didn't know you were going to do freaking crap, you know?
That's why I did Pat's air conditioning.
Yeah.
I knew.
It was an investment.
And Pat was very helpful. We still love Pat. I heard he sold to one of his GMs. I don't know that for sure, but he
did. Yeah.
The rumor has it. And he didn't take it too well when we started opening restaurants but you know, I mean, you got to step up your game, whatever's in there. And we had a different model than he had. And we still like Pat, and he's a great guy. He's done a lot of good things for barbecue in Utah. Mm-hmm. But what was your question? I forgot your last question.
Just the transition from the transition to the restaurant side.
Yeah, you know, so we you know, the only thing I ever did in a restaurant, I worked as a waiter or a doorman or something like that in California, but I didn't like the restaurant business, mostly because I can't remember how to do drinks and I forget orders and stuff like that. But
kind of the
kind
thing
of
you have to know.
Kind of the stuff you need to do.
But
so, you know, we thought, well, we want to do a barbecue place at sometime, and people are going like, you guys should do it. You know, I mean, we're selling stuff out of our garage and we would go drive around, look for sites. And it took us literally 3 years to find the first location that would work for us, because I didn't want to put, you know, I mean, now our restaurants cost us $800,000-$900,000 to open up. It's crazy. And
by the way, that first restaurant is in this sweet spot, coming right off the freeway, 300 West.
Yeah.
So it's in a sweet spot.
That was a drive-through sushi place.
Drive-through sushi. Hold up. What?
Yeah. That's what it was before us. But the good thing is they had all their hoods in there. The plumbing was done, the grease traps.
Grease traps are a killer, man.
Yeah. And so those were all done. And, you know, I'm like, grease trap? What do you need a grease trap for?
It's like a $300,000 improvement.
No, it's not that much.
Well, Lamb's downtown. Well, let's not get into
it. Depends where you are.
This is a national podcast, but here in Utah, there's a bunch of the restaurants available downtown, and they can't sell them because they need new grease traps, and it's quite a mess downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, but, you know, we didn't know. I mean, we had another guy helping us that had worked for Dickies or something like that. And Roger and I did, okay, here, you tell us what to do, you know, we'll do it, you know. And it's kind of funny. He could have had 5% of our company now, which would have been a lot of money to him. But, oh, well, see you later, you know. Sorry.
So you guys got a place down off Salt Lake. And then
yeah, so we got that place. But the thing about that place is everybody told us you'll never make it there. Our haters told us we'd never make it there. There's too many, you know, it's funny in life. You're always going to have haters. We got to a point where, like, geez, the haters are being quiet. What's going on? You know, our ratio of haters to big fans was like getting smaller. But you know, that downtown location, people said you're not going to make it there. It's not enough parking. It's homeless around there and stuff like that. And we said, well, we think it's going to be good coming right off the freeway. But yeah, you're on the wrong side of the street. People are looking towards the left, and you're on the right hand side. Like, okay.
Like this isn't a McDonald's.
Yeah. And so, like, yeah, we're just a little barbecue shop. And Roger says I got the story wrong, but I swear in the first 45 to 90 days, we had to get a bigger smoker in there. But it's funny how you don't remember past, and there's different stories. But I believed we got a bigger smoker in there right away. People were loving. We tried to bring competition food to a certain extent to the restaurant. It's not as sweet. I mean, competition food is very sweet because they only take a couple bites of each piece of meat, right? But we tried to bring the quality of going meat by the feel instead of having some guy that doesn't know what he's doing. Like, okay, we're done in it's been in for 10.5 hours. It's this temperature. It's done. Pull it. And that just doesn't work. But, within a year, I think it was about a year, we took the other side of the restaurant down there, and I thought you were saying
my arm.
like is you saying the time or what? He's scratching us.
No.
He's got a tattoo fading out. He's scratching
it's
out.
itching. It's coming off.
Yeah.
They peel off after a while.
I know. I got one on my back. It's a turtle and 2 dolphins.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Spring break.
It was a bunch of bikers. No, no, I really don't. But yeah, I don't know how we're running along, but my story going.
Oh
forever.
no, we've got plenty of time.
Yep.
Yeah, and so, God, we opened that up, and then Roger came in one day, and we met a lot of people there. I mean, we were meeting bikers to billionaires, and now I say we do business from bikers to ballerinas because we do donate to Ballet West. It's like I like to give to the arts. We're culinary arts, and those are obviously other arts, but it's all arts to me. If you really understand your food, it's an art, and serving people food, and they put your food in their mouth. It's a pretty intimate thing if you really think about it. And we opened that up, so I'm back to where I am. I get mixed up in my stories, timelines. But Roger comes in and with these guys from Days of 47, which is a big event here, the rodeo. And Roger goes, "Hey, I think I got this job. We're going to feed 800 people for 5 nights in a row."
Oh,
Like what? What? You told him we were going to do that? He goes, "Yeah, we're catering to 200, 300 some events. So it's just 2 or 3 times that."
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. And so, we got the other end of the building. We didn't have it done in time for that. But, Roger's just more like, "Hey, we'll just figure it out. We'll just do it." And it was quite a thing. Well, some sleepless nights, and we did have a new manager come in, a new kind of a GM president position. And well, actually I don't know if we had him that second year. I don't remember. That's how time goes, but we ran off of those, and we just kept meeting more people. And really one of the greatest things we ever did as far as marketing, and also we like giving back to the community. We fed 250 people from the road home with Harley Davidson for Christmas.
Oh, cool.
Wow,
And that was like the greatest feeling. It's still one of those stories. It's like, how many people really get the opportunity to feed that many people on their dime? And it's not a fortune to do it, but it felt really good that we can give back to the community and say, "Hey, we're R&R here." And we did a lot of things like that with Police Weiss of Utah. That's helped our business, and just different organizations of the military and police and stuff like that really gets your name out there, but it's also great to do. And, I had somebody last couple of years saying, "Well, why do you guys want to do this one?" I said, "Because it's giving back to the community. That's what we do. We've been real fortunate. I mean, yeah, we've made some great money doing barbecue, and more than I thought we'd ever do. I thought we'd have one barbecue shop and sell it at some point, and now we have 10, and we do have partners, and in every partnership, there's challenges, but that's just life. You're married, your girlfriend or whatever you have, or, your family member, you're going to have challenges. And, I talked to a guy the other day, and he was telling me, "Oh, my kid just had appendix and this and it's STS Marketing who I'm talking about. Jared there, his son had his appendix removed, and he was telling like, I remember this back then because they did all of our branding." And actually Retta, one of the partners in STS, was our partner. And we opened up our first shop with like $65,000 from him. And then we each put in like 10 or 15 or something, which is cheap for a restaurant.
Right.
And they did our branding, which is still, I love it. We haven't changed it. It's phenomenal. And that's another thing too. If you're going to open a restaurant, what you don't know, you get people to do it.
Right. We kind of touched on that on the last episode with Girls Can Grill. She was a marketing manager, and she talked about how to brand your barbecue in the last episode, and it was great information. A key on if you can't do it, hire somebody. She mentioned that as well.
Yeah, I mean, they happen to be our partners, but I love our branding. I think it's great. But that was a big part of it, of getting the right look. I mean, we could have gone with some cartoon logo, which just didn't give the right image. You know, we wanted something that's kind of a little edgy. They come up with some edgy sayings on our wall, and we're trying to get back to using them because I like what they've done. They get the pure essence of what barbecue is, and it's been a great relationship with those. And we're going to start using them again, I hope. But it's just getting the right people for what you don't know, and there's a lot to learning. I mean, I could sit down with somebody that's going to open up a restaurant and tell you all of our mistakes. Even though we made money along the way, we still made some mistakes. We had some employees like helping themselves to the deposit when they went to the bank.
Oh.
And like somebody says, hey, that guy's living a lot higher than you're paying him. Like, really? Like, oh, wow. Yeah, we probably lost 20 grand or so. I don't know what it was,
wow.
but you learn what you can trust. You trust and verify. But there's a lot of great employees. We could not have done it without having some incredible employees that we've had that like full on bought into it.
Right.
And, you know, you just look back and you always look back and no matter the decisions you made, you look back 10, 15 years and you go, I would have done things different. And there's a lot of that, but that's part of the learning curve. And that's kind of what made us stronger in some ways. And you look back and like, that was dumb shit, Rod. What were you guys thinking? But you know, you look back, like when you bought your first house, if you have a house and if you don't know for a while, you look, oh, maybe I would have got some inspectors for this, or I would have got this, or I probably could have got this cheaper. But that's just life, you know, you figure it out and you die, I guess.
Yeah. You guys did awesome too. Like living here in Utah, like people come up to me all the time and say, what do you think about R&R barbecue? And my first response is,
screw those guys.
I'm like, I'm better. I was like, my barbecue's better. And they're like, really? I'm like, yes and no. Cause you guys, I always tell people too, when they go to a restaurant, you guys are feeding the masses. You are not putting your competition food in every plate. If you did that, you guys would be broke by now, I promise. You know? So I'm like, whenever I go to a restaurant, especially like R&R, it's what I get and it's good quality food at the time. You know, I'm not saying that I'm expecting competition food every time, but it is good quality food and it's available throughout the Salt Lake Valley, which is amazing. Well, I congratulate you on that.
More than Salt Lake Valley. Yeah. We have 9 stores now. And we're in the Jazz Arena.
That's what I was about to say is because I'm a Jazz season ticket holder and we are in the Toyota Club. Yeah. And everyone knows that if they go to sometimes we'll sell our tickets, you know, cause you know, and then my friends will take pictures at R&R today. Yeah. I'm like, no, because my favorite is they'll have brisket down there. They'll have the ribs sometimes and mostly pork. And man, that's my favorite because I always go to the healthier options. Yeah. But I always go and see if there's R&R first. Yeah. If there is, man, it gets ugly after that.
Well,
it's so good.
At my job too, they come back to my department. They're like, R&R's here. I'm like, so they're like, you should be cooking. I'm like, no, they have all the experience.
But you know, as far
they're
as
good food, you know, so
as far as you're saying is better, then I think that means you want to challenge us in a contest. We could do like a little backyard contest.
Actually, you know that. Let's talk about this. We should maybe talk off mic about getting an R&R sponsored like backyard competition going, and then we can have Rusty and I and we can have our own personal vendetta. Yeah. Sorry, Rusty, I just brought you into that. Calm down. You know, it'd be fun. How awesome would that be?
I'll go to your class when you have a class.
We have one
next week.
Well, we'll have it at this point.
At this point, it's already passed.
But to me, that stuff's fun now. I mean, you rib each other, and you know this and that.
Well, that's the whole point of competition barbecue. If you're not going to compete,
then you say stuff shots. Like, "Well, I don't remember seeing you at the American Royal. I don't remember seeing you at the Jack."
Sorry, I was there for you.
I'm a competitor, man. I'm a strong competitor.
And that's the whole point why we do this food sports. You know, it's for fun because when we're in the game, it's. Like you said, we're not really the best friends, but coming out, we're going to be on a podcast shooting the shit.
Yeah. So no, I'm just kidding.
No, it's all good. No.
Yeah. I mean, us doing that other contest is going to be fun. We'll see if Roger and I don't kill each other.
Yeah. Good luck, Rusty. Can you?
Well, these guys and now Girls Can Grill.
Yeah.
It's a big one though.
Yeah,
she's
she's gonna have some new weapons too. So
well, our last was in Montana. We RGC'd and we beat Travis Duffy, who just RGC'd the Royal. Yeah. That was fun. So this will be our first one since. Gosh, it wasn't that long ago. That was
your last cook.
October. That wasn't bad. Okay, never mind. Yeah. That hasn't been so long.
No,
but I mean, it feels like it's been a year.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I'm like, it's going to be interesting. And
when was your last comp, by the way? Just seriously. How many years has it been? Or months? I don't know where we're at.
Well, according to this, it was in 2017.
Been 17. I don't know.
It was Sam's Club.
Yeah, and that one we didn't do well at all because we just weren't focused. It was like calling the shop, seeing, hey, how are we at? Where are we at for the day?
Well, people like that, they'll say they opened a restaurant. Why aren't they competing anymore? And as a former restaurant manager,
because we don't have to.
It's hard. Like it's you don't get days off, man. Like you're on the phone. My days off were, it was 13-hour days. And on the days I had off was like answering phones. Okay. What?
Especially being the business owner.
On fire? Who's no call, no showing? Who's not doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point we were just like trying to breathe and to go and do a contest. So this will be real interesting and it'll be a lot of fun, but you know, I mean, even like the classes that we do, and we'll probably do another one this year again at the Home and Garden Show.
Oh, cool.
That class, I recommend anybody in Utah to take it. It's awesome, man.
It's a cheap class too.
It's so cheap. For 4 meats, I think I remember paying $99.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean,
and then I got an apron and a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah,
it's really not a moneymaker.
No,
because it's anywhere from $100 to $125, depending what kind of swag bag we have and how many people are going to. It's a great deal. I mean, you're learning to pat ourselves on the back from guys that have done really well. We're the best competitors ever? No. A lot of guys have, they win 7 contests a year and they get invited to the Jack without going through the draw. But in Utah, that's a big deal because you have to drive to get to do well overall in the nation. You got to compete against the best. Like I said, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And we went out and that's what we tried to do. And we made some great relationships. And like, we'd hear people like, geez, those guys are starting to get it, no more free advice anymore. But it's been a lot of fun. We've enjoyed it. The restaurant is another deal that, like we talked about, we have 9 now. We're supposed to build 4 next year and the 6th year after that. And then we'll evaluate our position in the company and see how active we want to be that. We've got like a 2-year, it's probably like a 2-year exit plan to where we hope they have everything under control. We're still the brand. We're still the guys that go out and get high fives showing up in restaurants. Nice to see you. And, I had ribs the other day that I kid you not were as good as anything I've ever cooked.
Wow.
If we had our competition sauce on those, I would have turned those in. And those were actually cooked by Josh Fulmer. He's been with us for years. But, I've had some of the new cooks too turn in stuff that it's like, did we cook this good when we had the restaurant? I mean, it's a whole different level when you're cooking, well,
I think
1,000 pounds of meat.
When you become the actual pit master, you're taking your pride, I'm putting out this quality product that's going to make everybody happy. So you have the pride behind us versus just, cooking food and sending it out,
I mean, the word pit master too, I think is kind of, some people use it too easily. I mean, I really don't know what makes somebody a pit master, but that's another thing too. I think you really got to learn how to cook meats using charcoal and controlling the fire. I have a Traeger. They gave me an incredible one, 1350 Timberline or whatever model that is. And I love it. I mean, it's fun. It cooks really, really well. But to me, it's like painting by numbers to a certain extent. You still have to, that's what I mean. You still have to know what you're doing. We've done is done. And I really like the art of it, of understanding the fire, the flame, clean smoke.
Right.
All the challenges that comes with making your own fire.
Right. I feel like the whole pit master thing, I could be wrong, but I feel like if somebody gives you a piece of meat and any kind of smoker, you should be able to achieve a finished product on any grill. I think that's where I put as a pit master. If you put me in front of any grill, any kind of meat, I should be able to at least get it to.
Well, I think that too. And I actually was thinking, I don't know where this came from, but when I was in culinary school, when we were done, a girl turned to me and she says, guys, this is a weird question, but do you think I can call myself a chef? Like, hell yeah, you can call yourself a chef. Like, for sure. Go ahead. So, and for me, it's like, I kind of felt the same way, but now I'm more like, if you're a pit master, it's just like something you know and love to do. And if you're cooking food that people like, hell yeah, you're a pit master. Like, you know how to run that thing, obviously.
Well,
like,
I think it's, what I would always tell, we'd see people in contests and like, well, my neighbors love it. They all say it's good. They're all eating it. I said, yeah, but are they buying it?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's shitty chefs and there's good chefs, Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just depends if you're doing the art of it. I mean, there's like a girl I listen to now on music. Her name's Maggie Rogers. And my wife's like, thinks I has a crazy obsession with her. Just because I have a pillowcase on her with her picture on it.
That's not weird.
That's not weird.
No, I said, well, wait till the bedspread shows up, hun.
Or the underwear.
Yeah. And, no, but I mean, she's a new artist, Pharrell. I can never say his name right. Pharrell Williams.
Yep.
He kind of had this thing and discovered her. And she went viral. Now she's done like 150 concerts, and she's a new Grammy artist of her new artist of the year. But she's a different kind of artist, and her music is different. Her voice is different. She dances like crazy, and sometimes she looks a little dorky, but she's just in the pure moment of it all. And it's like, I think you could be that way with cooking, where you really understand it. And it's not just about turning it off and turning it on. It's that you really enjoy what you're doing, and you get into a zone of if it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
And you can get other people to that point. And she's just incredible. She's 25 years old, and she's just kicking butt. I mean, it's neat to see somebody with their art, whether it's culinary art or music or dance, of seeing somebody into that zone, and you watch them and you're just in that moment.
Right.
And I think you can be that with food. I mean, I've gone to restaurants that it's like, this food is insane. It's crazy. And I've been to restaurants. It's like, one of my good friends is Salt Lake Lunches, and she, I've gone with her to different restaurants to test it out and stuff. And, she gets if it's really good or not. And it's fun because I like to go see if I agreed with her reviews.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been spot on. I mean, I can tell what I think food is good. And the general public, I think, would agree with it. And it's just neat to go to that kind of place where you think, damn, they nailed it. They've got good food. And it doesn't matter if it's barbecue or if it's a 5-star place. I've been to kind of 5-star places that I thought weren't that great. They've got a good reputation, or maybe just a couple things in their menu was like phenomenal, Yeah. And I enjoy the art of it all. It's not all about making money. Like some people are like, oh, you guys ought to just kick back and not even go to the shops and this and that, and it's like, no, my name is on the friggin' door.
Right.
And no matter how many shops we have, it's still important for us to have great food and a great experience. And that's also something you're selling when you're doing a restaurant, is to have a good experience.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, but I think that falls all the way down to the guy at home. As long as you're having a good food and a good experience, that's a win.
Yeah.
And
you can't go by your neighbors. Like, oh, my neighbors love it, because they're not charging it. It's if your neighbors will buy it, Are they willing to put their hard-earned money out? And that's what we appreciate too, is like, I know people spent that, it's a lot for them to spend $15 or $20 on a meal, especially a lunch. I mean, you come in and spend $10 and get a pulled pork sandwich, which is really my favorite of hardcore barbecue, is a pulled pork sandwich with slaw on it, Yeah. And, I respect that people are coming in and spending their money. I mean, yeah, we got like bikers to ballerinas to billionaires that come in. And I mean, we cooked for Mr. Huntsman's funeral.
Wow.
I had a 5-year standing order with him. Rod, I'm not always going to be around, but when I do, you're going to come cook at my barbecue I'm going to have for my funeral.
Wow.
And then
I'm a big Huntsman fan, so that's
and then 5 days before he died, I got the call of, hey, Mr. Huntsman's passing away. Just let you know if you can be ready, because we're going to probably have a funeral here in the next week.
Wow.
And it's like people that we've met like that. It's just like incredible. I mean, we cooked for the governor. Do you know what challenge coins are that you get from the military? And they're a lot of military, police, senators. They have like a challenge coin. And it's just, you know, it has their name, or the service guys. It has who they're in and their association. I can't think of the right word for it.
Their branch of military, or
they're a branch of military, and you know, and some of those are really nice. I mean, I've gotten one from the highway patrol. They're his security detail.
Wow.
And they just don't give them out like candy.
Right.
Like a lot of people don't even know about them.
Obviously.
And you know, those guys, Days of 47, we've done a lot with the governor. We've been to his friends' houses and cooked for them, and he would be there, and his security guy's always with him. We always treat those guys really good. It might even help get out of tickets. I don't know. But they gave us one, and they gave it to us. It wasn't just like, hey, here you go. It was like, hey, thank you so much. We appreciate what you've done for us. You've always given our guys food. You've always been willing to help us. And you know, we tell those guys, if you have a guy's down or something like that, or if there's a family that needs food or something for a particular situation they're going through, we're there for you. And they gave us that. And I really cherish those coins. I mean, I've got it by Senator Hatch came in and gave us their challenge coin. And they don't go like, here it is. They usually shake hands with you and it's in their hand, you know?
Oh, wow.
And Senator Hatch was like, hey, I'm not going to be around forever, but that thing's going to be a collector's item. Keep it, you know? I've got it from the police. I've got it from police chiefs of fire departments, South Salt Lake. I got about probably 20 of them. And
I've never even seen one.
That's cool though. I imagine when you get pulled over, you're like, let me get my license real quick. Oh, here's my R&R business card. I have to, it's right behind my R&R. Oh, you work for, no, never mind.
You know,
I own the place actually.
I won't say too much, but it's always good to have the police on your side.
Yeah,
that's true.
So yeah, the whole barbecue thing has been really good. It's neat to be in this spot. It's neat to go out to places and like, hey, you're one of the R&R guys, even if we're not wearing R&R stuff.
Yeah.
And people like your food and have had good experiences with you.
I seen that on your Facebook yesterday.
Oh yeah.
You just going in the street clothes and people are like, hey, you taking pictures and everything like that.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it was really neat. This lady, we went to an event. It was a Ski City, Salt Lake. And it has to do with Visit Salt Lake, their Christmas party. And we've been really fortunate to do it with more than 1 year in a row. I think this is our third or fourth year in a row. And she said, yeah, we have a lot of members. It's a member association, but you guys have become, it's like Keys on Main, R&R Barbecue, and us. You know, they have a big, us meaning them, they have drawings and stuff, and really met some great friends there. And the woman that used to be in charge of that had retired in July, and she was still there. And she goes, I guess what I'm talking about is relationships that we made with barbecue. And she goes, it's really neat for you guys to still do this for us. I'm thinking it's the other way around, but she goes, it's nice that you're just not, that you're here as the company still to be here and check on the food and make sure everything's good. And
right. And
it's just kind of really neat. It warms your heart when people like appreciate what you've done and what you created. I mean, not that we're ever trying to put people out of business, because we're not. It's like car dealerships. The more there are, the better it is for everybody. But I heard another big brand is leaving the barbecue market in Utah. And we started it when people said, well, you'll never make it. You got Dickie's, you got Sonny Bryant's, you've got
Famous Dave's.
And now we've been very successful by really trying to stand behind our brand. And it's just, we've just been so fortunate. I've been on beaches in Hawaii. This is kind of a funny story. I was in Waimea Bay. It was the summertime. This is many years ago. And we'll say this cute, attractive woman was walking by, and my wife's looking at me like, Rod, hello. and I said, like, well, I know her. She from the restaurant, and she looks at me like, yeah, you're full of shit. She didn't say that. She's like Mary Poppins. But, and so the 30 minutes later, she walks back by again and I'm standing there and she goes, hey, aren't you Rod with R&R?
It knocked your wife's socks off, I bet.
Yeah, I'm like, God, that was a good save. Yeah. And I you know, we've met, I've seen people come to our restaurants and now they have kids that are 2-3 years old and,
That's
you know, or they're
awesome.
married and stuff. And it's just kind of funny, you know, it's,
Wow.
we've really enjoyed it. It's, you know, it's great to go into I'm 61. I can't believe it. I'm in my last days. I'm getting close. I'm getting closer than I've ever been.
You got maybe 20 years. It's over.
Yeah.
But it's been nice, you know, meeting guys like you that have, you know, you know, here's somebody I met too yesterday. My brother, we were in the shops again with no stuff on, but you know, twins that look alike, they kind of figured out. But this guy comes up to me and he goes, hey, I don't know if you remember, but my dad was Dan Young, I believe was the name. And he was in his last dying days and he really wanted R&R and you found that out and you brought some ribs over to him.
Oh, cool.
He goes, that was one of my dad's last meals that he had. And I just remember you guys bringing him over. And that was such a big part of his last days of, we ate R&R together, you know?
Yeah.
I had another person send me a Facebook message and this guy said, you know what? I got to thank R&R because my son passed not too long ago. And I just want to let you know that was one of the last meals we had together out was R&R.
Wow.
I mean, to be
Talk about
that kind of
humbling,
impact.
yeah.
You know, we did. I mean, these are like things I'm not bragging. I'm just sharing the great moments that we've had. Roger, we did this Make-A-Wish event for this little girl, 8 years old, bald headed from chemotherapy and radiation, whatever one makes you lose your hair. Mine's just age. But Roger was there and this little girl, her not last meal, one of the meals she wanted for her event was R&R mac and cheese.
Oh, wow.
It's like, that's just so cute, you know? And they end up getting, you know, chicken or something else too for everybody because not everybody just wants mac and cheese from
I don't know.
R&R.
I'm down with that.
Yeah. And Roger took some pictures with her. And I said, why didn't you get some videos with her? He goes, because I couldn't, when they turned on the video, I couldn't not cry in front of the video, like wailing, you know? And it was just neat. You know, I mean, I can go on with stories and, you know, generally I believe most people are really great. I've met some incredible friends that like, you know, everybody has challenging times that I've called up in hard times. Like, hey, you know, we're buddies from barbecue. Rod, call me anytime you need something like that, you know? And I got people that still hate me out there, but that's all right.
That's for good reasons, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. But it's neat. The barbecue community is great. I love our customers. You know, we built some good relationships. That's kind of my story. I mean, if you guys have any other questions, I mean,
that's awesome.
Willing to help out. You know, I tell people, hey, give me a call if you got some questions on barbecue or competitions, you know?
So, I guess if we're going that route, what's a great tip to somebody who's getting into it? What is your number one thing that you would tell them to hone in on the competition side?
It's just really learn the meats of, like we teach in the class, and you probably saw that in class. We like, okay, you guys are going to ask us, but don't ask us this time and temperature. Really understand when done is done, because if you don't know that, then you don't know when how to time your meats and stuff.
Right.
Because you're going to have meats that are done a half hour before, or you're just pushing it to the very last minute. So once you understand your process, you'll be able to get closer to that, but still leave yourself enough room, because you may have to hold the meats longer when they're done, because now you identify when they're done. You're just not guessing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool.
But, you know, understand the meats, get your own flavor profile, take classes. I mean, I've taken classes from some of the best, and, you know, some people got mad because I said, well, I didn't really learn that much from that class, but I picked up some good nuggets. Like, well, how can you say that? You know, you took it by one of the best guys because it's nuggets. I'm never going to cook exactly like somebody's class because it's just not me. You know, you can't. You have your own little fingerprint you put on food, but you pick up nuggets along the way. And, you know, some of these classes we're already winning and we're already getting first place and stuff. But I go, just like I tell people, hey, I'm not going to change the way you cook, but I hope you pick up little nuggets like you learning from us when you're just beginning. Hopefully you picked up a little bit of nuggets to understand when done is done. And in our class, we teach you everything we did just about, you know, like in chicken. I won't say everything we'll do, but I'll tell you one thing we don't do is we don't trim the fat off of chicken skin. That is to me, that is a rookie move because you're losing a lot of the flavor, trimming that out. And, you know, I mean, chicken is the worst thing to prep for a contest, but I got it down to about 4.5 minutes a piece.
Right.
So I have a question about that then.
Yeah.
So that's my recent convert in chicken is we stopped doing the fat.
Oh yeah. It's a waste of time.
But we worked on it all season.
Yeah.
And it would always pull. It was always chewy. And then I went 2 ways. I was told by someone just to take it up to 202. And then someone else
202.
202 degrees.
Done?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the other guy said, I put it in, I folded it over and I put it in for an hour and a half. I said, what temperature? He goes, an hour and a half. And I pull it. So we tried both work amazingly. So I bit into it and the fat and
you cook chicken at what temperature?
202.
202?
Yeah, 202.
Finished temperature. Finished temperature, yeah.
So that's my question. How do you get that fat to render down so when you bite into it, it's not coming off?
You know, I know guys that they cook it in pans, they cook it upside down. I know guys that don't do that. They cook it and they cover it up with the lid for the last so long. So the skin breaks. You know, it gets soft and moist. And so you're not drying it out. So when you bite through, you get bite through chicken instead of pulling it all off.
Right.
But I would never cook it to 200. To me, you've how did it work for you? I guess is my question.
The 202 was great. We did the hour and a half and it was a little dry.
But what did you place?
We haven't placed them yet.
That was a practice run.
Those were practice runs. So we did the scraping. So we scraped all the skin all season last year. And we did good with chicken. But our whole entire thing, like Fidel from Utah Barbecue Company said, you know, we don't trim our fat off.
Yeah, we're gonna scrape it.
Okay, let's try that. And it was terrible. And it was terrible again and again and again. So we'd always, when we practice, we'd do 1 pan of our normal, and then we would do 1 pan of just with no trimming the fat, and we couldn't get it right. Finally took it to 202, and then did the hour and a half thing, and both worked, and it tastes great. So I'm hopeful. We'll see.
I guess you'll find out. You'll find out here pretty quick.
But we couldn't get it off without under that temperature. So I mean, are you cooking to a temp on that? Or you just cooking until it starts bubbling?
Chicken, I'm cooking for a temperature and the technique, but if I can keep my chicken below 180 and, you know, I mean, I'll try to keep it just like right over 165. And my chicken cooks in about, this will blow your mind. I don't put my chicken on like, chicken goes, turn in is at noon, right?
Yeah.
I'll start my chicken about 10 to 11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And
do you torch it then? You like put it at 400?
No, I know how he does it. No. What's that?
I know how he does it.
I mean, we cook everything at 275.
Yep.
Really?
275, everything.
This is wizardry. I don't I have to figure this out.
And then, you know, we cook it to a certain temperature. We cook it to like 150, and then I flip it over. So then the skin sides up, and then I'll cook to 165, and then I'll take it out. I'll dip it all so you get a really smooth glaze. And then if I do have a hot fire going, I'll take it up to like 325 just to the very end to set the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
But I please
You blew his mind.
Well, how about this?
Please come cook with me when you do 202.
Well, I'll be
Everybody
the
cook at 202 when you compete against me.
We'll roll over in the Stampede this next few weeks. I'll give you a bite.
We'll trade. We'll see how it is. I mean, hey, if it works for you, then it works for you. I'm not going to say
right.
But I'm a coward.
That's why I always just say, how did you do?
I don't know yet.
If you did well and competed in competitions, then amen. But
I'm a coward, so I'll go down with all the intentions of doing that.
Well, you got to find out. You got to find out works for you, because I know guys that got to the Jack, and they're like, hey, it's different out here, and I had some other body's food, and now I'm going to cook like them. Like, really, you competed all year, you got here, and now you're going to change how you're doing.
That was Wendover for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you
brought me along.
Mm-hmm.
do what got you there, and if it's not working, then it's no good. But 202, man, that's like kind of the beef jerky area for me.
He's going to be talking about that for the next year now.
It was tender. I'm telling you, it was great. It was great.
You got to prove him wrong here in a couple of weeks with that.
Yeah.
Rusty.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I'm just.
Don't be scared.
Hey, we may not do any good at all. I mean, we haven't, the timing's going to be off. This is, we don't practice a lot at home ever.
Yeah. And that's a big one for everyone to understand. The Stampede in Arizona, which this episode will be the week before that.
Yep.
And, it's a big one. It was like 60 teams there last year or something like that. So,
yeah.
It's going to be fun. I mean, that, but like I said, whatever gets you there, I go to classes to pick up nuggets, and, some guys cook in pans, some guys, cook in big foil pans, and just, I used to win cooking in big foil pans and just putting chicken next to each other, trying to keep the shape that way, so they all look pretty conform, to the other one. It's really just whatever works for you, and you got to develop your own system.
Yeah,
that's cool.
We think we got it. We'll see this. Yeah. I mean, we took this whole last year. I mean, we did very well for ourselves in our first year.
I don't know. How'd you like my competition chicken when you had it at the class?
It's good.
We cooked like 60 pieces.
It was really well. I can talk off mic on the recipe and how it's done, but it's really good. It's an awesome technique. I use it.
Yeah.
And I try to veer away from it, and then I come back to it every time. Yeah. So the technique is amazing, and it just pounds the flavor into your chicken.
Yeah, so, we're also switching to pellet grills for our chicken this year too. So we're going from our barrels to our pellet grills.
Yeah, I mean, I've won jacquard in it. I've won not jacquard in it. And that goes to my point of knowing when done is done.
Yep.
I've never scraped. We scraped our first contest like, this sucks. This sucks, But and ribs, when I really started doing good ribs, when I figured out, I saw Johnny Trigg use a toothpick. Like, what the frick is he doing there? And it's like he's poking it to feel. And I had his class, and like I said, I learned a lot of good nuggets on that. And that's one of the things I learned is like the ribs, when you get a feel of when done is done, there's your finish line.
Right.
Yeah. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. Like what I learned is technique is the little bottle openers with the little claw on it. Just kind of poke it in, because that's like a tooth, and you can feel how that goes into the meat. So there's a couple of ways you can do that with ribs too.
Yeah.
We went to the lab on chicken this year, and I'm nervous because now we're juggling all sorts of different ways, and so we'll see. I hate to say that it'll be for us. Were we ready this year? We did a lot of competitions last year.
What team name are you going to be under?
We're in Salt City Barbecue.
Okay.
So it's just me, Chad, and I believe, and we go down. And then this year we're not messing around. Last year I felt like a lot of those competitions were kind of practices, which we're not doing this year. I mean, we did a lot of cooking, so I'm hoping we get this year. We're not goofing around, so
this year
I have to determine
yeah.
which one we're going to take. Which kind of chicken is that going to be? The 202 chicken or the chicken we did before, which was not
the 202,
202 degrees.
Oh, yeah. And so for me, that just seems really high.
But so when we go down there, that we have to make that decision, and then we're going to stick with it. Which one we do, we're going to roll, and then a couple competitions we're going to cycle through. And if we do great, I'm not changing it. If we don't, after like 4 competitions, I'm going to flip it around. Okay. Let's try something different. But we're feeling really good this year about it. But let's talk about like one more question before we get off here. Not just, did you say starting teams out, but like, what is the one thing you would tell a team like myself, who's like a first year team?
Yeah.
I'm coming down to a competition. And I'm not talking about meat, but I'm talking about like when you're going into a competition, like the mental game of it. What's some tips you can give someone going to a comp and that doesn't have anything to do with the meat? Like what, like a mindset maybe?
The mindset is don't, I don't know. You could get really messed up tasting everybody's stuff. Like it's even for me, I go to other restaurants and like, oh, theirs is this, those are that, you know? And then I come back and it's like, oh, I like mine, you know? So you can go and taste other people's stuff, but yours doesn't have to taste just like theirs to win. I mean, what you're looking at is tenderness more than anything. I mean, you know, for competition, it's different, but just go down with the mindset that you're going to cook your cook and you're going to focus on not everybody else there. Cause I'm saying if you go down there and like the guy did in, what was it? A Jack Daniel's World Championship. He went down there and tasted everybody's sauce and this and that. And he changed everywhere he did. And he skunked it, you know, you just go down there, have a good time. Don't worry about the other teams. Get set up. Oh, okay. So as far as that goes, really the best thing is minimize your list, but make sure you take everything you need because we are known for, hey, you got a piece of this? I mean, you know, or do you have this spoon? Do you have this? We would always forget something. So get a good checklist and then bring that, but don't bring too much of everything, but get a good checklist. Get organized on setting up of how you're going to, when the food's done, where you're going to cut it, you know, that you're going to have a place and understand who's going to do what meats, but get your timing down. Like, okay, we're going to get ready for this. At first it seems like there's just not enough time. And then after a while you're like, okay, we got a half hour for the next meat. We're like 5 minutes. Okay, let's go do it. You know, before, but when you're new, you're running around like a madman. Right. So, you know, get your timing down as far as when you know, your food's going to be done. It's going to be waiting. Some foods are better to have like done at the very end and some sit better. You'll have to figure that one out. But just go with the mindset of being organized and having everything ready. The more you can do before you get there, the better off you're going to be. You want to get there and be able to sit back and relax like on Friday night,
right?
And not be up all night worrying about, you know, trimming your brisket, do that. Like chicken, you can get there, especially in Arizona, you get there and it's hot. I mean, I trim all my chicken before I go. Not always, but I usually have, because I mean, I'll tell you, some guys weigh their chickens out. You probably don't do that. And they'll make sure all their chicken is, you know, within minimal differences of each other. But some guys will go by bigger chicken, smaller chicken, and then see which one's better, if one's overcooked or undercooked, and kind of pick it that way. But I like cooking all the same, try to be the same size so they're all cooking the same.
Yeah, and you made a good point there that I think is really important is that do everything before. Yes. When we first started out like that was so long ago, last January.
Yeah.
I took in a class and they had do everything beforehand. And I was arguing with it. And we had a teammate at the time that was like, well, no, let's just wait. You know, we have so much time. And we never experienced what it was like not to do it. But I'll tell you, sometimes, you know, you look around, teams are just like struggling. And I'm like, I'm so happy I did. In fact, there's more stuff that we're doing now.
You will feel better.
Before.
You will feel better if you get there, you get your tent set up, you get your smoker set up, and then you're sitting and waiting and enjoying your time.
Shaking hands, kissing babies.
And your teammates are setting up your stuff.
But yeah, I mean, if you can minimize what you got to do there, you know, make sure you got, you know, knives and towels and whatever you you do at home. Make sure get a checklist. Cause I'm telling you, we have the worst checklist for years. And even then we don't, we still get caught, but it is better if you get there, you get your checklist and you're able to sit down and say, okay, let's start cooking. We start cooking at 2 a.m. or 11 at night, but you're not rushing around all night. And
you're able to,
and you'll get your technique down. I mean, like I said, over time, the first contest was like a nightmare. And you're rushing to the store to get this, you're rushing to the store to get that, try to get as much as you can before you get there. Like if you use parsley or whatever you use, just get all that, and the same thing, make your boxes the night before, or, that's the first thing you do. I mean, some guys go nuts on boxes and try to make it like perfect carpet.
That's my team.
And then you really shouldn't. Your food should look the best, but you just need to cover up the bottom so you don't see the white.
Yep.
I mean, guys spend crazy amount. My wife does it for me. I know guys that do their boxes before they go.
Yeah. That's what we're going to try this year.
They get the box ready. They just lay it in there, turn it over, flip it back over and pull the towel out or something like that.
Well, our goal this year is, like I said, minimize. I mean, we waited to inject until like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. This year we're injecting everything right after meat check-in. So, I mean, it's noon and we're injecting everything, the whole thing. So we're going to try that. And it's, and so when we're done at 1 o'clock, we're done, man. Yeah. We're ready to, we're just chilling,
Right. That's a plus side of being prepared. You can get it set up. You can be ready to go. You can go get a good dinner, go get some rest. And then, it's game time at 11 o'clock.
And clean up as you go. Otherwise you're so tired. I mean, you're tired, you're greasy, and then you're waiting for the calls. I mean, there's nothing better than if you can take a shower after you're done and then go to the calls.
Yeah. We get all loaded up and ready to go.
But the main thing is, have fun. Even though you're competing, have fun. Most people are very helpful. Most people are very nice. I mean, you're going to develop relationships that, like I say, we've been competing since 2013 is our first contest or something like that. 2009. I didn't even know. See, but I've got like very good friends on personal levels now, and Rhythm and Q, Trailhound Smokers, teams from back east, teams from California that, just because I'm not competing, but they're great friends. I know I could count on them, and they can count on me.
Sweet. Well, we appreciate your time, man, coming in and talking to us.
Went a lot longer than you usually do. I don't know.
I loved it.
Thank you.
It was awesome. But you guys, if you're ever in Utah, check out R&R Barbecue and their the restaurants. They have them all over now, but just pop into one and have some great barbecue. But if you're on the competition tail, hopefully we'll see our cute.
Come up and say hi.
R squared.
R squared.
Yep.
R squared, I think.
And Vince, if you're listening to this for some weird reason, don't forget, if you're going to come to the Stampede, which I think you are, bring some sausages because you didn't last time. And that was a huge bummer.
He would be great for this to have.
I know. I have to get him on, actually. I need to check.
Because he's starting to do a lot of contests now. And his first couple were a little soft. Like I did that Wendover one, and I think he got a couple good calls. But then the next contest, you just keep learning and you get back into it. And then he got an RGC just not too long ago.
It was with us in Boise. Up in Boise, RGC, the whole thing. Yeah. That was a big one too. So that was a good one.
Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot from him. We kind of just opened up and shared our techniques and stuff. And, he's very methodical, and when he's turning his last meat, he's about cleaned up and ready to go.
Mm-hmm. And he takes his little minivan.
And if you help him pack up.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to help him pack up because he's got a spot where everything has a place, and every place has a thing.
Yeah. Right. We tried that. We took the wife's minivan to Montana. It worked out great, man. We had all four. Well, we had to take 3 barrels instead of 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got a whole setup, man. It was pretty cool. And
really best of luck to anybody who's competing. There's, like I said, there's nice guys that'll help you out. And, I've seen people do some incredible stuff for people to help them out while they're out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool environment, man. But again, we appreciate your time, and it's been awesome talking to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. guys. Well, that was Rod Livingston from R&R Barbecue. And like we said, when we started this podcast, we wanted to get a couple people here that we had a predetermined plan of certain people we wanted to get on. And so he was one of those. So it's glad that we were able to get that done and talk to them. But again, if you're not, which a lot of people are not from Utah, if you do come by, make that one of your first stops.
For sure. And then you can follow them on Instagram and Facebook. They got a great social media presence. So,
and if you ever come to a jazz game with me, hopefully it's R&R night. And
my personal Instagram is the Rod Spot.
There we go.
There you go.
The Rod Spot. Cool.
And so again, guys, so you can follow us on all of those too: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I think we do some on Twitter.
Yeah, we do some on Twitter.
We're not politicians, so there's not much there.
Yeah.
But you can listen to us anywhere as well. Yeah. And
Pitmasters Podcast.
Pitmasterspodcast.com.
That's the mother hub.
And you can see we have hats and stuff that Anthony's wearing there.
Yep, get our merch up.
And so
thanks, guys.
We'll have a live hopefully really soon, because when we do go to Barbecue Stampede, we'll take a little portable, so you might hear from Rod again. So.
That'd be fun.
Cool.
We could get his live reaction to my 202-degree chicken.
Perfect.
202. If you win, I will yell 202.
There we go.
Get ready.
Thanks for listening, guys.
We appreciate you, and have a good day.